He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both.
Hi, welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. The moment that the Chennai franchise fans, the T20 Chennai Super Kings fans were dreading is here. MS Dhoni has stepped down from his position as the captain from this season onwards. More on Dhoni, the enigmatic leader, and was this decision planned? What happened behind the scenes? All of that on the show today. Also, we look at 5 teams and some of the key players who can be game changers for their sides in this edition of the Indian Premier League. All of that is heading your way from cricket. In non-cricket news, Rubiales and scandals are clearly companions. What is the former Spain Federation president in the dock for this time? But first, Sports 360. Ex-Brazilian footballer Dani Alves will be freed from jail today. A Spanish court has granted Alves a $1.1 million bail after his rape conviction. The former Barcelona defender has been held in prison since January 2023. This year in February, he was convicted of raping a woman in a nightclub in Spain in 2022. Palestinian Football Association, or the PFA, has called on football's international governing body, the FIFA, to impose sanctions on Israeli teams because of the country's offense in Gaza. PFA asked for its proposal to be on the agenda at FIFA's coming Congress. Israel's Football Association responded by saying it has always adhered to FIFA's regulations. In cricket, Australian cricketer Elisa Perry broke the record of most appearances for Australia in the 50-over format. She achieved that during the series against Bangladesh in that first one-day. That was Perry's 145th ODI, where she went past Alex Blackwell's record. Perry has 3,896 runs in ODIs, including 2 centuries and 34 half-centuries. In badminton, ace Indian shuttler PV Sindhu cruised into the pre-quarterfinals of the Swiss Open Badminton 2024. She beat Thailand's Pornpincha Choikiwong 21-12, 21-13 in straight games. Sindhu finished the match in just 34 minutes. The Indian next faces Japan's 17-year-old sensation Tomoka Miyazaki. Women's World number 2, Aryna Sabalenka, opened up on her ex-boyfriend's tragic death. A former ice hockey player, Konstantin Kolstov, died by suicide. She posted a story on her Instagram account. In her first comment since the suicide, Sabalenka described it as an unthinkable tragedy. The two were first linked in June 2021. Now, he's an enigma. Just when you think you know him a little too well, Mahendra Singh Dhoni is bound to leave you completely perplexed and confused, and back to where you were when you met him years ago on a cricket ground covering the sport as a cub reporter. That was me more than a decade ago, but it is in keeping with the man, the cricketer that he's always been, full of surprises. So what's the latest then? MS Dhoni's bag of tricks. Just a day before the mega IPL opener between Chennai and Bengaluru franchises, the mega face-off in IPL 2024, comes a shocking revelation that MS Dhoni, Tala Dhoni as he's fondly called, will not lead his side anymore. Would you be surprised if I said it is such an MS Dhoni thing to do? The reveal was, of course, a post that the T20 League put up on their official handles of the 10 captains with the trophy. Here you thought there is Rishabh Pant coming back after a year of recovering from a near-death car crash. Pat Cummins, a new T20 captain. Hardik Pandya standing there in Mumbai jersey. Another new captain in Shubman Gill in the Gujarat franchise. But the vision that has got everyone by surprise, and of course that has grabbed everyone's attention, the man in yellow, not the long-haired MS Dhoni who's giving serious 2007 vibes, as you would expect, but the young opening bat, Ruturaj Gaikwad, standing right next to the trophy. Well, what do you know? There is shock. There is utter disbelief. How could he even, and now, after a stellar 2023 title-winning performance? Then there is the realization, you as the fan are consoling yourself that he is still around. He will, of course, play. Who else can keep wickets and be that electrifying behind the stumps than this man? And then, of course, there's a smile because even if you, the fan, have not seen the man behind the cricketer, MS Dhoni has done enough. Laid the breadcrumbs, as they say, to reveal this side to him, the side that likes to surprise, to tease, to prank. Of course, right after that post, Chennai Super Kings came about, were very quick to respond after that post, revealed everything, and they said MS Dhoni has handed over Chennai Super Kings captaincy to Ruturaj Gaikwad ahead of the start of the Tata IPL 2024 season. Ruturaj has been an integral part of Chennai Super Kings since 2019 and has played 52 matches in IPL during this period. And of course, what I'm hearing from sources here exclusively is that no one really knew, barring a couple, of this decision, and it was quite a shock to the entire team there. In fact, they had a team dinner just last night, where it always happens, and as you've heard in the past, all these team dinners, MS always gives a speech, there is a lot of conversations, there are some things that go about, and there is that gathering of the entire contingent, the squad, the players, the management that come under one roof and celebrate a season that they're looking forward to. And there was no hint of this to follow. But before I tell you about what he was like in that Chennai dressing room as skipper, let us get the numbers out of the way to just show what Ruturaj is up against. He's been the most prolific captain for the side. Probably Rohit Sharma has been just as successful in the Mumbai franchise at the helm. MS Dhoni has only, to my knowledge, missed captaining Chennai franchise for just 4 matches. The last one was in 2019 and Suresh Raina stepped in then. It was in Chennai against the Hyderabad franchise. He's never missed a game thereafter. Now on to this surprise stepping down is in character, is in keeping with the MS Dhoni that we know. Remember when he stepped down from international cricket, it happened during the COVID season 2020. In fact, it was during the IPL prep because IPL that year was called off during the camps, and then of course they joined again in August before the season began in September in Dubai. So it was during that preparatory camp, just a few days before the team were to assemble in Dubai, MS Dhoni's announcement comes ringing through all social media platforms. And at exactly 7:29 p.m. on August 15, saying, as of that time, consider me retired, in his own words, with a video and what his favorite song was humming underneath. Said a few things about the man, how quirky he could be, absolutely no one knew, and he did not tell anybody till that day. In fact, what I got to know later from a lot of the people and players close to him was that just before he was going to post that, he called them in the dressing room, said that he would do this as respect to them being around him at that moment. We hear Suresh Raina broke down into tears, and of course he also went ahead and did the same thing. And as always, so too did Raidu and a few other members who were there when he was announcing this. And he did it on a day that he holds dear, as army symbolizes an important place in his heart. Later, I got to know how, at the latest training session before the IPL was called off to be played in the UAE, MS Dhoni, of course, had done this and everyone had broken down. So, as we know, Suresh Raina followed the leader, and yes, we know how unpredictable MS Dhoni could be. He did the same thing years before that when the team was touring Australia in the middle of an intense test series against the hosts. Right after the Adelaide test, MS Dhoni announced his retirement from test cricket and Virat Kohli as the heir apparent. That was just as unexpected as his teammates and the support staff all were just as shocked. That is the enigma of MS Dhoni. I have shared some unbelievable moments with the man during his absolute peak. I was privileged to be around the CSK dressing room, to be around the time. He's a champion. He played to win. He's captain cool. But his team, especially the youngsters, adore, love him and look up to him as much as they feared him. The doors of his room always open, and his smile and jokes will always greet you every single day, no matter the day, no matter whether it was before an intense match or right after a win. The man taking charge, of course, Ruturaj Gaikwad, is someone who has grown up in this franchise. From being picked and groomed, being scared and tentative in the initial years, where he at one point couldn't even score more than 1 run, to now captaining the side, piling on the runs in confidence, Ruturaj has come a long way. And under, of course, MS Dhoni's guidance. I remember joking with him just last year that he will be the future captain, and it's all sort of laid in plan, because the franchise has a way of reposing faith and trying to groom leaders, even though MS Dhoni would always be the one true leader. Now, of course, they stumbled around when Ravindra Jadeja was appointed skipper for that season, and that, of course, resulted in quite a chaotic one. So this decision, if we care to pause and think really, makes a lot of sense. Ruturaj stepping up to the challenge was a while coming, and this had to happen. When you thought things were all going according to plan, MS Dhoni does this. And no matter how many days you spend getting to know him and spend memorable moments, picking up life lessons, he will still manage to surprise you. Memories that I will always cherish, post-match talks and conversations, quiet celebrations, playing table tennis together, speaking of his family and his child, learning the ways of the world, because many of the conversations with him, with MS Dhoni, always veer towards the philosophical, which explains his captaincy too. There's always method in the calm madness. And that is what he is. You think you know him, but do you really? The Indian Premier League is here. It's the biggest T20 league in the world and the most intensely contested one. Now, of course, a couple of teams have been more successful, and there are some who haven't even won the title once. Now, who are the top contenders? How do the teams look? Who hold the cards? We've got you covered here. So today we're previewing 5 teams, the remaining 5 tomorrow. And as you expect, our preview is slightly offbeat. We would do the usual. We won't do the usual. We have a unique preview coming your way. So let's start with the first team. This is, of course, the Mumbai Indians, one of the most successful franchises. And of course, it's the start of a very unique season with their very, very successful captain Rohit Sharma not at the helm of affairs. Hardik Pandya has his hands full. His role will revert to that of a lower order batter, not what he had done with the Gujarat franchise just before. So a lot will also depend on how he switches up and hits the ground running. So time for our breakdown of Mumbai. The first one, who's the old warhorse who could light up this season? How can you speak of Mumbai and not mention Rohit? He is the old warhorse who has somehow revamped his demeanour, his batting. A lot depends on how he will keep that captaincy cap to the side and deliver with the bat. Now, don't get me wrong, he is still the leader in the ranks, but somehow this balance act has to be achieved. Rohit too has traversed through that batting lineup, partnered with so many different batters the world over, but this year at the top with Ishan Kishan, who's himself been under fire. His role could be more serious to bring that sanity to the Mumbai batting lineup. Next up, King of the Jungle. Now, I couldn't think of anyone other than Jasprit Bumrah. Again, it's someone who has played with this franchise for a long time now, practically grew up here, and is one of the senior-most hands in this particular franchise. He's another leader of the pack. If Rohit leads the batting, Jasprit heads the bowling. There have been a few injuries here in his department, so the responsibility on his shoulders is immense. Mumbai missed him last year, and they can't wait to see him back at his intimidating best. Next up, it's a perfect segue to the new cub on the block. Quina Mafaka set the Under-19 World Cup on fire and has actually come in as a replacement for injured Sri Lankan pacer Dilshan Madhushankar. I was going to pick his senior compatriot Dewal Brewis, but Mafaka is all of just 17, and that just seemed quite the story. But this tearaway South African has been the talk of the town, and what do you know? He's in the franchise whose lead bowler he absolutely adores. Mafaka, in fact, even broke records, and if given a chance, there will be a great experience curve for the youngster to learn from. Either ways, a talent to watch out for. And finally, Busy Bee. No surprises here. Suryakumar Yadav keeps himself busy at the crease, the 360-degree player. When he does come into the 11, he will look to attack and give that extra support to Hardik Pandya in the middle order. He was instrumental in Mumbai's turnaround last year, and much is expected from him once he returns post the rehab. Though now how he gets going will be interesting to observe. The next team, of course, that we're looking at is Kolkata franchise. Again, under the spotlight for various reasons. One being the return of Shreyas Iyer. The captain has been caught in the middle of a storm. Regarding his apparent standoff with the Indian Cricket Board, his back spasms, and now, of course, being declared fit to play and lead. Enough problems on his plate too, with firepower in Jason Roy missing. Will it be Rahmanullah Gurbaz and India's Venkatesh Iyer at the top, both having had great seasons last year? But yes, let's get down to it then. And first up, the old warhorse. A left field choice for me here. Gautam, who was more Gambhir, that means just a little serious and intense while he was with the Lucknow franchise, is back home to where he belongs. It's where he won IPL titles with. He's happy, he feels in charge. And making statements like he didn't bring success to the team, but the team made him successful leader. Gautam Gambhir, that's some goosebumpy speech. Kolkata definitely needs some magic, and they will look to the dugout for some from Gautam Gambhir. Next up, of course. I'm going with Suyash Sharma for this one. He actually has been a key component in their bowling attack. He's 20 years old and has played the support cast to the senior, more experienced Sunil Narayan. He had a fabulous 2023, though his side did not quite live up to some of the heroics that they exhibited. The leg spinner from Delhi clearly has the faith of the entire Kolkata team management. They're invested in him. And after his solid performance in the inaugural season, where he picked up 3 wickets in the very first game, there is again much expected from Suyash. Rounding it off here with the last of our picks for this side, King of the Jungle. Well, we cannot look beyond Mitchell Starc, can we? Some of the Aussies, thanks to the superlative show in India at the World Cup, were great picks at the auction, and Starc in particular went for the big bucks. The highest paid player in the league history is going to have to pay back in the form of wickets, and quite a load of them. Starc has not been a permanent fixture in the T20 league, we know that. Injuries were one of the reasons, as well as him wanting to focus on national duty. That's made him miss a few seasons, but this time all eyes will be on this tall, lanky pacer. And can he get the success his wife, Alisa Healy, has not been able to in the Women's League? Now, I've saved the best for the last with Busy Bee. Can I pick anyone other than the most talented maverick with the bat and a southpaw to boot? So rare this one, Rinku Singh. Kolkata will always remember his heroics against Gujarat in the last edition. He made the most memorable contribution with that unbelievable cameo to take them home, and has slowly become that finisher India is looking toward. He's diligent, comes from the most humble beginnings, had a solid season for the Kolkata franchise and has been in form ever since, especially in the Indian setup. Our next team on the decode list, Delhi. They have never been crowned champions, but have of course come close. Now, either ways, it's a team that has loads of firepower, but somehow have failed to cross the finish line. We'll start with the old warhorse. David Warner steals this spot. No surprises here. He is their talismanic batter. A lot of impetus on him to deliver at the top of the order. And with no pressure from national duty, having announced his retirement just recently, Warner can focus on the job at hand. Next up, of course, is King of the Jungle. Now, I had to go with Rishabh Pant. They took their time in watching him, being with him through recovery, spent some days at the net sessions, and then, of course, came the announcement of him being made the captain. So there has been a lot of thought put in here. And just going by how much Pant has done over the last year to get back to cricket, this season, he could truly make it his. Let's swiftly, of course, move on to the next category of our decode. We are moving through Delhi rather quickly. It's time for Busy Bee. Another Aussie in here, and not surprising, when an Aussie holds the mantle of this franchise under Ricky Ponting, Mitchell Marsh will look to build on to the momentum and confidence he's getting from the Australian dressing room, where he has been made skipper of the T20 format. He will hopefully get that experience here and shine. We're, of course, next moving to the team Hyderabad. Let's get down to it very quickly, and let's start with the old warhorse. It's an emotional pick, this one, for me. I have, of course, gone with Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Yes, that's him. Someone who has been the backbone of this franchise for years. He has even captained the side. But I guess this is not something he rather cherishes much. I reckon he likes to just go about his business. He's leading their bowling attack. All of that experience ought to come in handy. He's quiet, unassuming, and a crucial player in the Hyderabad ranks. He may be out of reckoning as far as the Indian setup is concerned, but Don't take him too lightly because of that. Let's call on the next one then, Cup on the block. I'm personally excited about this pick. We are, of course, moved on from Old Warhorse to Cub on the block. That's right. I'm excited about this one because he's not exactly a young one, but Fazal Haq Farooqi is a gun player. He's one of the youngest guys on the squad and also quite raw as far as international exposure is concerned, but shot into limelight on the back of a super performance for Afghanistan at the World Cup. If given a chance, he will look to grab it like his other Afghanistan players who have done so in different franchises. All right, let's get to the next one, which is the Busy Bee. I'm going with the predictable one. This is Aiden Markram for Busy Bee. The South African batter was captain of the side. Was not the best outings here. In fact, he has enjoyed great success for the sister franchise at the South Africa T20 League. But yes, there is still that batting firepower that they will want him to deliver on. He's a great middle order fix. And with the rest of the Indian batters in the ranks not having too much international experience, barring of course a Mayank Agarwal, it'll be very important for someone like Aiden Markram to step up. And we're rounding this off. We're rounding it off with the king of the jungle. Yes, it had to be Pat Cummins. We're calling him the king. The media is calling him the king, thanks to the big bucks he's made. The management has proclaimed him to be the king, handing over the captaincy. But does Pat Cummins himself feel like a king? I'm not so sure. Pat Cummins may have had great success as captain of the Aussie franchise in the longer formats and again, limited to average success as a player in the Kolkata team as far as the T20 League is concerned. But does that all translate to him turning Hyderabad's fortunes around? Tough ask this. The last team today, and yes, it's been a ride, we are wrapping this preview up with Punjab and we'll start off with the Old Warhorse. Shikhar Dhawan, the captain of this franchise, he has a lot to prove. Being out of the reckoning as far as the Indian setup is concerned, there is pressure on this batter. But the southpaw is on the cusp of a year of reckoning for him. Adversity brings out the best in some, and maybe this will do that for Dhawan. He has always led the charge at the top of the order in various franchises, and here too, he would look to do just that. It'll probably be Prab Simran at the top again to give him some assistance, but we'll have to wait and see. Moving on to Busy Bee. Sam Curran, he has to somehow harness that inner star boy to deliver for the franchise that won him back in a massive bidding charge. So, lot rests with him in that lineup that needs a bit of sparkle. Sam Curran was there in the Chennai setup too briefly and had quite a decent season, but can he do over from last year and ensure that this season with the Kings, he becomes the X factor? We'll round this off with the king of the jungle. There are no surprises here. It has to be Kagiso Rabada. When used smartly, he can be the best bowler on any given day. He had a good World Cup outing for South Africa in November last year, and we say this because it has been the subcontinent conditions and he's carried that form through. He can do the job, both top and tail. May not have had a very fiery last season, but this year could be it. That wraps it up for us for the 5 teams. We will, of course, preview the remaining on Friday. That's tomorrow. Talent, Galacticos, Golden Generation and Magicians. That's what Spanish football represented a few years ago. The same football federation is now getting popular for all the wrong reasons. Last year, they came under intense scrutiny thanks to Luis Rubiales and his kiss scandal. It opened up a Pandora's box of sexism in Spanish football. Add racism, tax evasion, and now even corruption and money laundering to that. And you have a heady, potent, poisonous cocktail. A fresh controversy has now surrounded Spanish football. The police in the country, in fact, raided offices of the federation as part of a corruption and money laundering investigation. The suspicion is in connection to the federation's deal with Saudi Arabia. The police also raided the residence of former federation president Luis Rubiales, and an arrest warrant is issued against him, who is now currently in Dominican Republic. Here's a report.
Controversies continue to cloud Spanish football. It all began with the kissing scandal that rocked the Women's World Cup last year. That non-consensual kiss cost them a president in Luis Rubiales, who was asked to resign, and the stigma of being one of the most sexist cultures in the sport. Not a tag anyone should be proud of. From there to racism against Vinicius Jr., to Real Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti accused of tax fraud. And now, corruption allegations. Spanish football has traversed the entire spectrum, and at the heart of it all is the Royal Spanish Football Federation and its disgraced former president, Luis Rubiales. Spanish police raided the headquarters of the federation and a residence belonging to Rubiales. The raid was part of a corruption and money laundering investigation, and there are suspicions regarding the federation's deal with Saudi Arabia. Rubiales shot to fame post the World Cup that Spain's women won for the first time. His unsolicited kiss with Spain player Jenny Hermoso landed him in hot water. He was eventually forced to step down as the federation president in September last year. During his tenure, though, Rubiales signed a deal to move the Spanish Super Cup to Saudi Arabia in the year 2020. It is believed that the deal was worth $42 million per tournament for the federation. But that didn't just profit the federation. According to rumours, it also lined Rubiales' pockets and footballer Gerard Piqué. In 2022, an audio conversation between Gerard Piqué and Rubiales got leaked. The duo were reportedly heard discussing millions of dollars in commissions. Piqué denied any wrongdoings, of course. But even if there are speculations, it will have a huge impact. The leaked audio led to an investigation in 2022, and the focus of the current trade is to uncover the matter linking all of this. 4 arrests have reportedly been made so far. The arrests include the federation's external legal advisor Tomás González Cuato and 2 directors. No arrests were made at the headquarters where the national team is currently training. Rubiales, who is currently in the Dominican Republic, wasn't present when his house was raided. Though he wasn't arrested, he was among 5 additional suspects placed under investigation. Rubiales expressed shock at the ongoing investigations into him.
I'm absolutely surprised by all this. I've been working here for months in the Dominican Republic. I've been here for over a month straight, and in fact, my family was going to come and spend Easter with me.
This is the same Rubiales who expressed his shock after the Jenny Hermoso scandal. Just like he wasn't aware of any wrongdoings in the past, he isn't today either, so no surprises there. Spanish prosecutors say that the March 20th operation was part of a wider investigation plan. So clearly, all the corruption allegations will be put to rest only after the investigation successfully concludes. The questions that need to be answered: what is the nexus between Spain and Saudi? What role did Rubiales play in that matter? How deep does the rot run? And who else are the perpetrators in the underhand deals between the 2 countries? Well, we should hopefully get answers to some of these queries over the course of this investigation.
Time for last serve. Of course, the craze for FIFA World Cup is on, but no, not the 2026 one. I'm speaking about the 2030 edition. Yes, it's years away, but of course, Portugal, Morocco and Spain have sounded the bugle by unveiling their logo. That wraps up First Sports here today. We'll of course join in again tomorrow. Till then, take care.